I spend it there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Paris, here I come. You know, it's not, it's not set aside for that. You know.
I know. It's really staggering numbers. The amounts are just
Yeah.
way too high. And $260 per day is $260 per day. Wow.
Well, one
Yeah.
of the statistics that we found was more than 80% of Americans over 50 say they want to remain in their home as they
Mm-hmm.
age, but receive care at home. But that can be really costly. The yearly cost, like Cynthia said, can be up to $94,900, and this is increasing by 5.4% annually.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's not going down, it's going up.
Yes. Yes.
Fewer than 3% of American adults have purchased a long-term care insurance policy.
Wow.
Fewer than 3%.
Wow.
And I believe
That's
it's
low.
because that's so low because it hasn't been explained.
Mm-hmm. You're
No one's
absolutely
bothered
right.
to demystify it,
You're absolutely right.
because we don't talk about this.
And at the same time, it's not something that the government is mandating you to get. Unlike
That's
car
very true.
insurance, you
Right.
have to get it.
Right.
For long-term care,
It's not a mandatory.
but less than 3%, that's a pretty low number.
That is.
And again, it's something that people don't think about when they
Mhm.
think long-term care. And yes, in my business, when I tell them about long-term care, first response will be, well, I'm not that old yet.
Yes.
So they
Yes.
always think it's for the elderly. They
Yes.
always think of private nursing homes.
Right. When really there's this age group that is high risk
You're right. Uh-huh.
on both ends of the
Yes.
spectrum, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
it's
yes, exactly. The
high
sandwich
risk.
generation.
Yeah. So on both ends of the spectrum, there's this high risk group, and then the ones in the middle. If you're in that middle group, your ability to get it at a rate that is more cost effective
Right.
is under 40.
Exactly.
So that's that middle group though.
Mm-hmm.
So take heed. And Cynthia, I want you to give us your contact information again, because what I know from our listeners is they get involved in listening,
Right,
and didn't grab the pen when you said it first. And if they're watching on YouTube, unless they rewind.
Right,
So please tell us again what
Okay,
is your.
again, this is Cynthia Tan. Thank you for listening, and you may reach me at my website, www.cynthiactan.com. My office is here in Los Angeles. My direct line is 323-782-3263, and my office is 6300 Wilshire Boulevard, Suite 2200. So you could reach me there as well.
Okay. Now I want to talk about something that we spoke about, and we were actually talking to my family here, the crew, and we just mentioned it, and they're young.
Yes.
And so we talked about the sandwich generation.
Which is a foreign concept to them.
Right, exactly. Only known about because I've mentioned it before in passing, right?
Yes.
So can we talk about the sandwich generation and what this type of insurance
Okay.
means to them?
So I am part of that sandwich generation.
And so am I.
Okay, so if my mom needs some kind of care, that means, and she did not have the plans for long-term care,
Yes.
then that means I am obligated, as you know, in my culture, obligated
mine too.
to take care of her.
Right.
And by doing that, that would take some of my time to do my actual work, to do
Right.
my normal daily life.
Right.
Now, at the same time, I have teenagers,
Right.
pretty young children who still need my care, who still need my guidance, who still need me to be there.
Right.
So sandwich generation, basically, you're being pulled in two different directions.
Right.
You're right there in the middle, and because of that, it puts that burden on you, whether it's emotional or financial, to actually do the normal things in life.
Right.
And that has been happening a lot lately. And I did tell you I had a friend who was actually in that part where she was working full time. At the same time, her dad, who needed long-term care, she had to take care of him. And it came to the point where it put too much burden on her that she had a mini stroke.
Right.
So having long-term care planning, long-term care insurance planning is crucial because, again, it not really eliminates 100%, but it reduces the emotional burden and at the same time the financial burden when you have to care for someone, whether it's your parents or whether it will be your young children over 18.
Right.
So that's why it's crucial to have that long-term care insurance planning.
Yes. Because I know for myself that the better we plan, the better off we are.
Yes.
And, we talk so much as women about, the things that we want to see for our families and the things that we want to be able in a position to do for our families. And so, to have this type of insurance in place, not just for women, but for men. But, women usually discuss this kind of thing. And so I really want us to spread the word, just spread the word, get in, talk to someone who can help you with this, and let let them know where you're at. Are you a part of the sandwich generation? Are you, younger and need this because it's cost effective right now, or if you're older, over 40, it's still an obtainable goal. The amount that you pay is still obtainable, and it's not going to cost you $230 a day to obtain this insurance.
Right. Believe me, the cost of long-term care insurance, if you do the cost analysis of it, it's a lot cheaper than actually paying someone $90,000 in 1 year.
Right.
So it still is a lot cheaper.
Oh yeah, very cost effective when you compare it to the part if you don't.
Right.
Because you don't have to be in the hospital for a year or need care for a year. I don't even say in the hospital, but need care for a year. It could be 90 days.
Yes.
And that could wipe out someone's savings 90 days, or, because that's $30,000 if you divide,
Right.
So to put yourself in that type of financial situation, $30,000 is not, something to shake a stick at. That's legitimate dollars. That's money that could be used for something else.
Yes.
Whether it's a vacation or savings or investment. And, if you save within a 401k or if you have stock and bonds and mutual funds, if that's the way you save, or if you have properties, $30,000 could have a significant impact on the way you live. It could. If so, even 90 days to 120 days could have a significant impact. So don't think that you have to, that this only means that if you're ill for a year or you're not immobile for a year, it could be 90 days.
Yes.
And depending on your budget, if you haven't been listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch and you're not budgeting well, this could, knock you out of the box in 30 days.
Exactly. Yes, or maybe even less.
Even less. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're done.
Yes.
So all of it's relative.
So so everything has to be planned out. You're not just accumulating your wealth. You have to protect it as well.
Yes.
It's not just, okay, I'm making all this money now, because if you ever have an accident or something that's related to your health, that wealth will not grow anymore. Exactly. So now it's time to protect it as well.
That's right. So here on Lunch with the Finance Bunch, you're listening to Miss Charline, and I have Cynthia Tan in the studio with us today. And this conversation has been so informative. It really is. And we are learning so much today. And we have a few minutes left, but I always want to make sure that I thank my guests for coming on. And I want to especially thank you for giving us so much information, information that we can really use and make an educated decision. That's what it's about.
Yes.
Not just creating wealth, but being able to maintain, hold on to it, and make decisions that will have a positive impact on our future and the future of the people we love.
Well, I hope I was able to reach out to your listeners.
Definitely.
And again, if they need more information, they could reach out to me and definitely make an informed decision on whether long-term care insurance is right for them.
Right. And you can listen to this broadcast over and over again, and check us out on YouTube and listen to it as many times as you like. I have a friend who was checking out the YouTube channel, and she told me, she said, I had to run out and run an errand, so I listened to part 1 and part 2, and then when I came back, I listened to part 3 and part 4.
Wow.
So we make it easy listening, and so subscribe. Let us know what you want to hear. All you have to do is go to YouTube, look up Lunch with the Finance Bunch, and you'll find myself, you'll find Cynthia, and many of my other friends, and we talk about wealth and how to make, we try to make it as educational and informative, yet easy to understand as possible.
Yes.
So, Cynthia, is there anything else that you want to tell us? You know, and you've given us so much information, and you've done it in such a way that we could absorb it. So, is there anything else you'd like to say to us before we close?
Well, thank you again for inviting me here, and I hope I have helped your listeners.
You have, and we want you to come back.
Definitely come back. So
Definitely come back.
That's a yes. And thank you again.
Yes. So please, when you're thinking about, you know, creating a financial future, when you're thinking about the things that you want to do, and, you know, you have your why you want to obtain wealth, don't let your why be destroyed by lack of knowledge. Go in, meet with Cynthia, meet with a professional like her, talk about, you know, long-term health insurance, what that means to you as an individual, what it means to your family, what it means to your future plans, what it means to your right now plans. We need to make this a part of our budget, because if it doesn't become a part of our budget, we won't have a budget.
Yes.
You know, and this is the type of thing that could have not just an impact on our immediate budget, but it can have an impact negatively on our long-term budget. So when we talk about educating us on 401ks and investments and things like that, which we'd love to have you come back and talk about too, and you know, mutual funds and all the things that we talk about as far as wealth building is concerned, and opening our own businesses and owning our own businesses, we need to talk about the things that we have to do to maintain our ability to create wealth and maintain it.
Yes.
And this is one of those topics. This is long. This is a long-term. This should be a part of your long-term goal.
Yes.
Is having, you know, long-term insurance.
Yes.
And the other thing that I thank you for is explaining to us is that this is not a part of most health insurance. It's not.
They have to check it. They have to review their plans.
Yes.
Because the last thing you want is, you know, here again, you need the long-term care planning, and you don't have any plans to take care of that.
So we don't want to be reactive. We want to be proactive.
I know.
We talked about that too.
I know.
Let's be proactive. Let's talk about these things, and don't be afraid of it. Now that you've been exposed, let's just talk about it. Let's go and meet with Cynthia, sit down, have this conversation. And before we go off the air, please give me your contact information just one more time.
Okay, thank you again for inviting me here.
Yes.
So this is Cynthia Tan. You may reach me at my website, www.cynthiactan.com. All information will be there, and you can contact me there as well. Or you may call me directly, and my direct line is 323-782-3263.
Yes, and Cynthia is a part of New York Life.
Yes, I am with New York Life, and my office is in Los Angeles, 6300 Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, Suite 2200.
And Cynthia, how long have you been in the business?
Almost a decade now.
Wow.
With New York Life.
With New York Life, definitely. And then before that in investments. So
yes,
you're well-rounded, very knowledgeable. We can talk to you about other parts of investing, and we'll have you back on to talk about those things. But today I wanted to specifically talk about long-term care, and just, you know, breaking it down and making it easy, small bites, what we could consume, and enough so that we would be in a position to ask you more questions on an individual basis when we come and see you.
Okay, so little things, $260 per day for long-term care.
Yes.
Now, health insurance may not cover it.
Right.
Medicare will cover only a portion of that. Medicare is only for age 65 and above.
Yes.
Medi-Cal may be for individuals who may have limited assets, and they could avail of long-term care planning through Medi-Cal. If you don't have any of the above, you're on your own basically. You have to use your own personal resources. $260 per day, $90,000 per year.
Wow. Thank you, Cynthia, so much for coming on. This is Miss Charlene. Thank you for listening to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. And Cynthia, we will definitely have you back on
definitely.
to continue to educate us.
Yes,
Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you.